Dragi ljubitelji tiska i grafičke industrije, želimo vam dobar dan i dobrodošli u 4. po redu epizodu print magazinova online serijala 45 minuta o tisku. Nadamo se da će vam minute provedene s nama i danas biti zanimljive i korisne, jer ćemo i ovaj put razgovarati o jednoj vrlo interesantnoj temi. Pričat ćemo o tisku velikih formata. Tisak velikih formata niša je koja je u grafičkoj industriji prisutna tek nešto više od 30 godina, no tijekom njih snažno je napredovala i razvila se. Zbog mogućnosti korištenja za ispis velikog broja aplikacija i na uistinu širokom rasponu medija, ovo je niša s jako velikim potencijalom kako u pogledu rasta i razvoja, tako i u pogledu zarada. Tisak velikih formata izvrstan je dodatak svakom poslovanju, a tehnologije i rješenja dostupni danas na tržištu vrlo su fleksibilni, jednostavni za rukovanje, a i financijski relativno prihvatljivi. Kako izgleda tržište tiska velikih formata danas? Koje su tehnologije dostupne? Koje su aplikacije najisplativije? Te hoće li tisak velikih formata postati must have tehnologija, reći će nam naši današnji gosti. S nama su danas gospodin Mike Horsten, nezavisni konzultant iz tvrtke Zemt Consultancy iz Nizozemske, gospodin Hans van der Horst, Wide Format and DTG Marketing Specialist iz tvrtke Velikog International, također iz Nizozemske, te gospodin Niko Vlastelica, Business Development Manager B2B iz tvrtke Canon Adria iz Slovenije. Hvala vam što ste se odazvali našem pozivu i odlučili se uključiti u ovu temu. I samo još jedna mala napomena, s obzirom da su 2 od 3 naša današnja gosta stranci, odlučili smo cijelu emisiju napraviti na engleskom jeziku. Naravno, kao i do sada, naš vam je chat otvoren za sva pitanja, komentare i sugestije. A mi pozdravljamo našeg prvog gosta, to je gospodin Mike Horsten, nezavisni konzultant za grafičku industriju. Mr. Horsten, hi and welcome to our series 45 minutes about the print.
Hi, welcome. Thank you very much for inviting me to be in this conversation, and for all the people watching, it's a pleasure to have you with us today.
As I have said in the introduction, you've been in the industry for a long time. So, can you describe us your first encounter with LFP printer?
Wow, I mean, I know I have gray hair, so it's a long time ago, but it was around 1991 when we found a printer, one of the first large format printers, probably the first large printer in the world, and we brought it to Europe. It was a very first generation of inkjet. It was a great printer. It could do many things. It could print lines, and we tried to print pictures, but the ink would basically fall off. It was a disaster. But at the same time, it was technology, which was very different. We had the possibility to print some things, and one of the first things we printed with it were text, because text was acceptable to be printed. And we were able to sell this printer in 1990 to a newspaper company that was proofing for newspapers. So they finally had the size of 90 centimeters wide or 36 inch to print a newspaper proof. But many things have changed over the years. I mean, when we look at the first generation of HP printers, look at an HP DesignJet 650, some of us in the industry decided to look at what are the possibilities to make it a graphic printer. Those were CAD-CAM printers. They were made for architects. They were made for building bridges and having drawings. But we wanted images. We wanted posters. We wanted other things. And this was the possibility to do it. And we did with some software, some firmwares and other things, and the first generation of large format printers was born. Today, the market has changed dramatically. Just if you think about, a big EFI printer or a door store in HP, printing 3, 4, 5, 6, 700,000 square meters a day or 700 square meters an hour. In that time, it was 30 seconds for 1 centimeter. A big difference. With printing an A0 or 1 square meter was 45 minutes to an hour. It's a totally different business, but it is fun. And we have to realize this technology is still moving ahead. It will be faster, it will be better and nicer. And it's a young technology. We're, almost only 30 years in this business, where, if you think about it, it's nothing compared to Mr. Gutenberg that made a digital press 400 years ago.
What would you say then when the first serious LFP printer showed up and how the market has changed since then?
The first serious LFP printer was probably the HP DesignJet. There wasn't much around in that time. Solvent printers arrived at the end of the 90s. Before that, those printer companies that we know today, the Mimakis, the Epson, the Mutos, did not exist. So HP is really one of the founders when it comes to that technology. At the same time, Lexmark was also one of the founders because they made the cartridges, the heads for the NCAD printers. And NCAD and HP were the two players in the market at that time. You have to remember it was a niche market. It was something which was not commonly available and had a lot of problems. But HP and NCAD were the two early adopters of this technology. And I think that the technology will move on. We see things like Nexpress, you see Indigos, you see all this technology that is very related. I mean, the Landa is an inkjet printer, a big one and a fast one, but the technology is there. And I see that more and more of this technology will move into the higher space. And at the end of the day, I think that inkjet will replace offset and even flexo printing.
You said that the market has changed a lot, meaning more opportunities for the print service provider. What would your advice be to print service provider how to choose the right LFP technology?
It really depends. I think one of the biggest problems is that people only go to a reseller. Now, the reseller has a great knowledge of a certain piece of equipment. An HP reseller will know everything about HP. The Roland reseller will know everything about Roland. The Mimaki will know everything about Mimaki. There's a couple that have multiple brands, but in general, there's always a preference at the reseller level to sell you a piece of equipment that is good for you, but it's also very good for them. In this case, when you are starting and you want to move some of your analog business to digital business, I would always advise you to get somebody that is independent. That is somebody that can help you make the right choice, because the choices are immense. If you're in packaging, or if you are in offset, or if you are in just printing COVID stickers, there is a huge difference. Do you want UV technology? Do you want solvent technology? Do you want water-based technology? In textiles, there's even more ink technologies. Do you want to print on textiles? This is the other question. So inkjet is so wide, from printing a label in your supermarket to tell you what your cash is, all the way up to the apparel that I'm wearing is been printed on in textiles with inkjet. So when you look at that technology being so wide, you need somebody to help you. Need somebody to help you guide, because it's quite difficult. Then you have to look at your own company. What is your company? Is it a company that is more specialized in A or in B? And then you have to look for the right piece of equipment for A or B. Some people just buy a big box of metal, an inkjet printer in this case, and then find out that that was not the right product for their customers. So there's so many questions to be dealt with. I would always advise to get yourself an independent person, hire him. It's for a day, get talks with him, and it will cost you money, but at the end of the day, it will save you more.
LFP technology offers huge opportunities. What do you think? Is LFP a new market or a must-have technology for every printing house?
Well, a must-have. Nothing is must-have. Let's be very honest. I think that technology is great to have, but if you don't have the people, if you don't have the experience, if you don't have the customer, you don't need it. what will happen if you don't invest in that technology today? It will mean that in 5 years from now, your company will probably not exist. That is the hard part. Today, the customer demands things to be delivered yesterday. This is the big difference. The difference makes with inkjet printing that I can deliver something that is ordered today, at the end of the day, finished and done. With an offset printer, 4-color, that is almost impossible because of the drying times, etc., etc. So from that point of view, I would definitely invest into technology. And an inkjet technology is a cheap way to invest in technology. I mean, you can get a very cheap inkjet printer that does a lot of things. It's probably not the ViewTech or Durst type machine, but with a Mimaki, with a Roland, with a Muto, with an HP, you can start producing for 25,000 euros, and you are going to be up and running for a fantastic piece of equipment. So, and it doesn't matter which brand; they're all good. So let's be very careful on that point. In the old days, you would have differences between this one and that one, and I would choose today. All printers are good. You know, it really becomes to the finesse of what do I need for my company, for my customer. And I think it's more important before you decide to go into technology is to think and reevaluate what are you doing as a company today? What are you printing today? What are you willing to print today? And what do your customers want from you? Not what you want to offer your customers. No, that's wrong. You need to think about what does your customer need from you so you can print the right thing for the right customer at the right time.
Among other things, print service provider should ask himself what the customer needs from him in order to be able to offer or to sell exactly what he needs. According to that, what would you say? Who is more important today in the printing house? Is that a commercialist or a technologist?
And let's be realistic. In the 90s, the technologist, he was the man. The white coats guy walking around the building, checking the inkjet printer if it was printing. And the general manager or the director of the company did not have an idea what was happening downstairs, but it looked good. So, and he could sell it, so it's fine. I think today the technologist is not as important anymore. I think most printers are almost green button printer, like the copier. You press on the button and a piece of paper comes out. I know it's exaggerated, and a lot of people will probably say, "Oh no, it's not true." Okay, I understand, but let's take this as just as an idea. And I see the commercialist being the bigger problem because, in general, the printing industry as an industry was lazy. Not in working hard to get the printout. No, lazy in selling, lazy in talking to the customers, lazy in taking the phone. They were waiting, no phone, gee, no work, what do I do now? And this is the big difference. You need a commercialist that picks up the phone and says, "Hey, I got something really cool. We now have neon colors. Would you like to have a sample? I saw your campaign about your product, and maybe we can use this to put some extra attention to it, and you'll look better, blah, blah, blah." So that's a commercialist that is selling it, not the technology. He's selling the technology, but he is a commercialist selling the technology, and not the technology guy saying, "Well, we have a pigment ink that will last 25 years. Well, yes, that's interesting, but you're selling strawberries, and the strawberry promotion is this week. Next week, there is no more promotion. The poster goes down. So do I need pigment ink that has 25 years of lifetime? Maybe it would be nice, but it's not really necessary. And this is why you need the commercialists today, and the technologies was from the few days. That does not mean that when you have a big group of printers, you don't need a technologist to look at those printers and evaluate new technologies to grow your company. But the focus would be commercial.
Print 4.0 is something that has been talked a lot in the industry lately. How close LFP solutions are when it comes to Print 4.0 today?
I think today I think it's a big problem. Print 4.0 is the integration of multiple things from workflows, web to print all the way back, etc. There's many different ways of looking at print 4.0. When you look at inkjet technology today, I think we are still at print 2. For the simple reason that every different manufacturer has its own protocols, it has its own standards, it has its own ways of doing. Integration into inline production capabilities are minimal, to be said. I mean, there is some photoba cutting machines at the end of printers today, and there are some rolls, where you can go from a big roll, jumbo roll, into smaller rolls. So we have some automation when it comes to workflow, but JDF, for example, is not JDF. JDF for one company is JDF for another company, and the other company has another JDF, and they don't talk to each other. So workflow today is minimal. So the big companies like the Synth presses, the guys that run Vista Print and all that, they have their own workflows. They built their own workflows. Picanova in Germany, which is a very big company printing thousands and thousands of canvas prints for customers, consumers, they have their own workflow. They have their own systems. They built all this themselves because it was not available, and it's still not available. In the textile industry, it's even worse. There's a very few systems today because the diversity of the product. I mean, you can have a sportswear shirt, a bathing suit, or an apparel shirt like I'm wearing, and they're all different. They have different technologies. One of us is an acid ink, the other one is a reactive ink, the third one is a pigment ink. Then we have dye sublimation. So there's already 4 different ink technologies for one type of product. And that makes it very difficult. And then, is it cotton? Is it polyester? Is it this? When you look at a substrate, for example, for an offset printer, you have paper, and you can have a coated paper, you can have a satin paper, but there's not that many options. The thicknesses are there, but it's pretty much the same. When you look at inkjet printing, the diversity of inkjet media from a vinyl to glossy photo papers to canvas, it's a huge range, and that makes it very difficult to make a workflow and to get a workflow. So when we're looking at print 4.0, which you're asking, I don't believe large format printing today is there. It will take some years, but again, we're 25, 30-year-old business. I think in the long term, large format printing will go that direction also. There will be more and more automation of robotization, taking up, on flatbeds, putting sheets onto machines and taking them off. Today, it's there, but it's in the early stages, let's be very honest. It's a good collaboration between robot manufacturing and printer manufacturers. I know Mimaki showed some things, Swiss Q showed some amazing things, but it's still very early days. It will go that direction. It will go that direction for the simple reason that people are too expensive. People are too expensive to stand on the side of a machine waiting for the machine to print.
Ecology is becoming also a very important issue in the last years. How do you see the future of the solvent technology according to that?
Well, solvent technology has evolved. When the first solvent technologies came to the market, you could smell the company operating probably 3 blocks away. It was bad. It was really, really bad. I was once in India in the 80s, and I could see if they were printing Coca-Cola or Heineken just by looking at the river beside the factory. So ecology in those days and solvents were, disastrous. Then we came with eco-solvent, and no, it's not ecology solvent, it's economic solvent. It was a cheaper solvent, but it was better. Why was it better? It didn't smell as bad. So people said, oh, that must be good. Well, it wasn't that good, but what they did is they put masking smells inside the ink so that you didn't smell the bad stuff, but the ink was still there. Today, if you look at the companies that are selling solvent printers, they have improved dramatically the inks. They are still solvents, but they are not as bad anymore. We have to realize one thing, that solvent is not always bad. When I drink my coffee in the morning, water is the solvent. So a lot of people always think bad about solvents. I think that solvents are not as good as they could, but they're getting better every day. do I believe that solvent will be there for the rest of eternity? No. There will be other technologies that will replace solvent. When? It will take some time. This is not going as fast as everybody thought.
And for the end, according to your experience, in which applications do you see the biggest potential? Is that a signage, textile, interior decor, or something else?
In general, I think the signage industry is a saturated industry. In other words, we have enough people printing. There's not that much room to improve. So what happens there is you have the known spiral that goes down in pricing. Because if there is enough people printing, I can get it cheaper from the other guy. And this is also a thing that you have to realize commercially, that people are not interested that much in the differences because the technology is so good on all the sides. So there's no more big difference. So price becomes the difference. This is the reality, quality and price. When we look at the textile industry is an amazing industry, but it's also an industry where the margins have been destroyed over the years because of overcapacity in the analog business. Now, going digital, there is some capacity problem, but the prices are compared to analog. When you look at home decoration market, it's a huge market. It's an untapped market. We haven't done much. And I think this is one of the biggest markets in the future. If you just look around your home, you see wallpaper, but you see cabinets, you see kitchens, you see floor tiles, you see, your parquet is HPL. It's high pressure laminate, which is probably printed by or a dye sublimation or a latex printer. When you look at things like basketball courts from a company called Gerflor, which is the leading company when it comes to Olympic type floorings for stadiums, they use digital technology to print a lot of this thing. So I think decoration is a huge market. It will grow more and more. I do believe that textiles, which is one of my loved technologies, is the technology for the long term that will go from analog to digital quite fast because of sustainability. The ecology will move analog textiles to digital. And when we look at signage, it is sustain and grow production, grow volume, but not companies. So if you want to start a company today, signage would not be my first choice. Let's put it this way. Textile would be a choice if you have the customers, but decoration is where you can probably be more successful in the short term.
Mr. Horsten, thank you very much for being a part of today's episode and for sharing your thoughts and experience with us.
No, thank you very much. And I wish everybody a healthy, safe stay and grow your business with a little bit of thinking and enjoy the rest of this series. Thank you very much for inviting me.
The couple that I'm currently working for as an interior designer really loves plants and nature. So while designing their space, my main mission was to bring greenery into urban life and their apartment. Therefore, the design we have chosen can be best described as urban jungle. The custom-made wallpaper will be printed at a printing house that has Canon Colorado wide format printer.
Naš drugi sugovornik danas je gospodin Hans van der Horst iz tvrtke velikog International. Mr. van der Horst, hi and thank you for joining us.
Yes, good afternoon, Zelkia. Thank you for having us. I'm very honored to be part of this session.
At the beginning, can you tell us, according to your experience, what are the biggest challenges on today's LFP market?
From an impact or the biggest challenges in the large format printing industry, of course, the short-term impact is caused by the whole COVID-19 situation, which of course has a global impact on large format printing. What we believe as well, there will be an increasing need for any print provider or print service provider to focus on innovation, to focus on transforming the business, to of course stay relevant in the market. What we also see is a change in customer demand, the way that customers, for instance, order products. There's a strong growth for online ordering that we see as well. So the way that either print buyers purchase products, or for the long term, we see an impact of how good are reaching the market or print providers. So the whole supply chain will also be impacted, especially considering the fact that, of course, China is a production house for many different large format printing equipment, hardware, media, substrates, inks, etc. What we see as well, and what we expect actually, is that we see a lot of outsourced print jobs, a lot of volume moving back to local production. So we see a trend of outsourced manufacturing more to insourcing or local manufacturing, that volumes are moving back from the Far East or from Asia Pacific back to the European mainland, which of course also offers great opportunities for any print provider.
So we can say that this is the market with a big potential.
I would agree, absolutely. And we see, and it's also based on a lot of market research, whether it's from Key Point Intelligence or from the FESPA organization, there's still a very strong growth in the market for inkjet, for the different inkjet. It depends on the inkjet technology. But at the same time, we also see a lot of media manufacturers or print substrate manufacturers still investing and developing dedicated media for different inkjet technologies. So when you talk about different applications, mostly for indoor, we see a very strong potential for large format printing. Absolutely.
How would you evaluate velikog's position on LFP market?
Well, we are still relatively new in the market. I must say new when we start launching our first printing engines to the market. That was in 2015 with the first latex technology or latex printer. So we've been in that market for 5 years. However, what most people maybe don't realize is that with regards to the printhead technology, velikog already has a 40-year history of research, development, and innovation. So velikog has mainly been focusing on supplying printheads to other vendors in the market, other manufacturers. And since 5 years, velikog has started to develop their own portfolio of printing engines and printers. Initially, it's frequently with some OEM agreements with other vendors. And what happened since the last 2 years, that velikog has started to launch their own products, own designed machines with velikog own printhead technology inside. And there's a strong focus on developing our own ink. So in the large format printing market, a relatively new name. However, we have been investing quite heavily to grow this business. Also strategically, there are some plans to increase investments. So the portfolio with ink technology inside is part of the CIP division, commercial and industrial printing. And in 2016, it was contributing to 12% of the global revenue of velikog Global. And the plan is for 2022 that we have to contribute 20% to the global revenue. So there is a strong focus on growing and contributing to revenue. And this, of course, also requires strong investments. And that's what we are committed to.
velikog has entered latex market a couple of years ago. Can you compare first latex printer with today's technology?
Yes, I can. There's a huge change and a huge transformation that took place from the first latex technology and device compared to the machine that we have at the moment. First of all, why latex? It's also a strategic decision because velikog is also committed to the environment, to the sustainable global goals that was released by the United Nations, to be a sustainable company. And of course, as we all know, latex is a more environmental friendly ink, a more environmental friendly way of producing. That's one of the main reasons. And of course, the latex market is from what also market research shows especially in the EMEA region, it shows a very strong growth rate up to 2024. So this is one of the more strategic reasons why Ricoh decided to invest in latex. Of course, solvent for us as a company was not an option because of the characteristics of the inks. For that reason, latex. And recently, Ricoh also invested in the water-based inkjet with direct-to-garment and UV inks with a range of flatbed machines. Coming back to latex and the machine developments. First machine was launched in an OEM agreement, so it was not a full Ricoh designed and manufactured machine, although it already had the Ricoh printhead technology inside. The machine that we launched April last year, the successor, it's called the Pro L5100, comes in 2 different widths, is now with the 3 most important components embedded inside the machine. So it has the Ricoh design, Ricoh manufacturing of the machine, the printhead technology, the Generation 5 printheads, and it has Ricoh own inks, the latex AR ink. So I think these are also the 3 most important elements that show some improvement. So most improvements have been made on making it more user-friendly for a print provider, automated maintenance, so less time spent on maintenance for the machine, more reliability on the machine performance, automatic maintenance on printhead cleaning as well, increased productivity, that's very important as well. And what we have been able to continue is a stable performing machine. And one of the reasons is that in 2018, Ricoh acquired the company Cologate, the RIP software developer. And Cologate is also now connected or bundled with the latex machines. And the plan is, of course, to have it also bundled with the other inkjet print engines. However, we started with the latex machine, and we see that it offers many benefits to end users to have a more professional RIP software directly bundled with the print engine.
How did the market react on Ricoh latex technology?
I must say that I work for Ricoh International, and we cover the EMEA territory, and we work with indirect business model only. So we work with business partners, and I must say now 12 months have passed, and we have some very strong growth and some good strong achievements with the new machine, the new latex machine that we launched. And most important is to get direct feedback from the market, from the end customers via our business partners. And the remarks or the comments we received is that the machine is performing more stable, more consistent in color consistency. The productivity has increased significantly, so that's important also to capture more volume. And one of the main improvements is, of course, with the Cologate. So there's faster ripping, which also increases the productivity as well. But it gives also more control of cost of printing, better insights in the total ROI when you decide to invest in the machine. And there's also some interesting savings that can be realized with some of the features that are included with the Cologate software. But overall, more user-friendly, better performance and more stable performance. And what people liked is that we were able to maintain the low curing drying temperatures, which also improves the stability of the behavior of the media inside the machine.
Print price on latex is more expensive than the one on solvent. How to turn this, let's say, handicap into the advantage?
Yes, we've seen the same trend in the market. Looking purely at pricing per liter, the eco-solvent inks are very competitive. What we see on the other hand, it also matter of applications, end products, and also focus from a print provider. So there are clearly some differences between the characteristics of the inks, and one handicap we can turn into a benefit is the advantages of the latex ink and technology. And where we see a huge potential for improvement and for growth is the indoor segment. So also for print providers, if they're able, especially due to COVID-19 situation, there's increased focus on innovation and transformation, if they are able to find a niche or a specialty product in any kind of market or segment, it allows them to differentiate from competition, from the market. And if you have a product that is unique, of course, print buyers are willing to pay extra. It offers an opportunity to make good margins. It's an interesting business model. It's not specifically for latex, but of course, a print provider has to select the right printing technology to realize that unique selling point. The advantage we see with latex is the versatility of the ink, that it's compatible with many different types of substrates. And if I see the combination with indoor, I think there's a unique opportunity to capture many new applications. So especially the environmental friendly aspect, which is very important for indoor. We see it in some specific environments, like a hospital environment. That is something where print providers can differentiate with latex technology, latex ink. And also one of the fastest growing segments we see in general is textile printing or garment decoration, where we see a good combination with the latex technology. So it's the flexibility of the ink and the flexibility of the different segments and the different range of applications and end products that print providers are able to offer. So also coming back to your question about turning a handicap into a benefit, when we compare the latex technology with the solvent, eco-solvent, some interesting research from Keypoint Intelligence and Infotrends has shown that many print service providers have less, and even at 61% of the respondents, they have less than 24 hours to complete a print job. And if you consider the characteristics between the inks, with latex being instant dry when the output is coming out of the printer, it has some challenges with other types of ink to deliver this print job within 24 hours, considering the time that is required to dry inks. Compared to the fact that with latex, the inks are dry when they come out of the machine. So what you see in general, also a trend among print buyers, is a lot of last minute ordering. So they expect quite instant delivery time, quick completion of print jobs. And if you consider a fixed amount of drying for an ink before it's ready to be shipped, it's almost impossible to deliver within 24 hours. And that's one of the benefits with latex, that these kind of changing demand from print buyers can be easily met with this technology.
What are the velikog plans for the future about LFP market and in general?
Yes, as highlighted earlier, we have to contribute more than 20% to the company total revenue. So there are some additional investments planned. It's a combination of new product and definitely on new product developments to increase our offering and the portfolio. And what we are focusing mainly on is the growing market of textile printing in general, garment decoration. So velikog currently has a range of, for instance, direct-to-garment printers. We see some huge potential there with the growing trend of more personalized, or the growing demand for personalized printed output. So direct-to-garment is one of the focus areas, and textile printing. What we see in general, what we are researching is some new applications for the latex technology, some specific substrates we are investigating. Since velikog is manufacturing their own latex ink, owning the formula, we are able to test internally as well for this specific application. And further investments will be made more on the UV technology, the UV inkjet, where currently we also have a range of true flatbed machines. And the plan was at Drupa to introduce a new hybrid machine that can be also more interesting for the large format printing market on the flexible media and the flexible substrates. And that is combined with some two new type of inks that will be launched, which is more applicable for large format printing, where the inks are more applicable and better characteristics for flexible substrates and print media. So different investments in plan, expanding the product offering, and I also expect some investments in some further acquisitions to build our value proposition and our offering to the market.
Mr. van der Horst, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you very much for inviting me and having me on this session. I think it's a great idea to directly engage with print providers, with the end customers in the market, and giving the opportunity to share some thoughts from a Rico perspective, explain Rico, what we do and why we do it. One thing I would like to explain as well to the audience is that in the Balkan region, Rico International has a business partner which is representing the full CIP portfolio for commercial and industrial printing, including the inkjet technology and the inkjet machines, which is called Eurocop. And they are fully covering the entire Balkan region, the different countries, with their own service and support and commercial organization. So they're a very capable and loyal Rico partner that has a full service organization to support customers locally.
We wanted to renovate our apartment with a trendy new wallpaper. And when our interior designer told us about Canon interior decor solutions, we found out that we could print our own design of wallpaper, which made renovation really easy.
Naš posljednji sugovornik danas je gospodin Niko Vlastelica iz tvrtke Canon Adria. Mr. Vlastelica, hi and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for the invitation and good afternoon to everybody.
Topic of today's episode is large format printing. What does large format print mean for Canon?
So, Canon has been present in the large market for years, even for decades. We are present with solutions, roll-to-roll and flatbed printers, which are using different technologies. Some of them are proprietary. For instance, in TDS solution segment, Canon offers a unique crystal point technology, which is offered through plot wave and color wave products. On the other hand, we have the unique technology UV gel, which is used in our award-winning Colorado roll-to-roll printers. On the other hand, we are constantly monitoring market trends and needs of the end customer. Market intelligence research predict that volumes in the large format market segment will grow approximately 10% per year until 2023. The main accelerators of this growth are the increased adoption of new technologies, the expanding range of applications, and as well efficient workflow solutions. And all of these three accelerators of growth are addressed by Canon UV gel technology.
In your answer, you have already mentioned UV gel technology. UV gel is a unique technology developed by Canon. Where did the initiative for such a demanding project come from?
Yes, so at Canon, we are closely following the needs of end customers and print service providers. We combine this with ideas and vision of our R&D department. When we sense that current technology is reaching its limits, we develop solutions which can overcome these limitations. When we decided to develop UV gel technology, three limitations being constantly observed on the market. And these are productivity, quality of adequate speed, and media versatility. And UV gel is closing this gap and brings a better balance between productivity and needed investment.
You said that the productivity is one of the main advantages of UV gel technology. Is there something else that makes UV gel different from classic UV?
So basically, if I can explain how UV gel technology is different from classic UV. So traditional UV printing creates by default uneven surface due to multiple ink layers which are being cured individually, which is resulting in relief effect. On the other hand, in contrast, the LED UV curing system employed in UV gel technology can move independently from the printing carriage. So we have two independent carriages. One is for printing and one is for LED UV curing. And this means that UV gel ink does not have to be cured immediately. And this is giving the ink drops the opportunity to settle. And when they settle, the ink creates a flat, smooth profile. And this is the main difference. So relief effect versus smooth, flat profile.
It has been 3 years since the first presentation of UV gel technology. What are the market's results so far?
Thank you for questions. So the feedback at the market was amazing. Usually there are early adopters of new technologies who want to have the newest products. Then we have the so-called believers, and we count on both. But we've been really surprised that so many users had switched to the new UV gel technology and abandoned existing ones. We sold about 20 units in Adria region and 1,400 worldwide. All these numbers exceeded our expectations.
Several Colorado UV gel printers are also installed in our region. What is the feedback from the users?
Yes, as I mentioned, so we've been surprised with very good sales. And it seems that print service providers have been waiting for game-changing technology, and they recognize the many benefits which is bringing UV gel. Let me pass through most important ones. So personally, I believe that media versatility is one of the most important things, and media versatility fuels the business growth through the usage of many different applications, which is very big range when you use UV gel technology. Next is high printing speeds. Colorado, you can achieve 159 square meters per hour speed. Then is definitely what is bringing the UV gel technology, the low temperature, low energy of UV LED curing, which is enabling to use heat-sensitive media, which is really important. There is also drying time, so no waiting before drying. You can immediately use the product which is coming out of the printer. UV gel is also certified for indoor usage. UV gel excel of color gamut, color depth, and light fastness. And one of most important things is that UV gel has been awarded with Green Guard Gold certificate. What does it mean? Green Guard Gold certificate sets stricter criteria which ensures that the product is acceptable for use in environments such as schools and healthcare facilities, which is very important for our health.
Do you have information for what kind of applications print service provider use the Colorado the most?
Yes, of course, we are measuring what is going on, and we can say that current results shows the signage market accounts for approximately 18% of UV gel digital prints. Next are then banners, posters, and vehicle graphics. But this is reflection on the current situation. While the wallpaper market with interior decor is coming up, very strong in wall coverage and soft signage. An interesting application is also flooring with laminates and vinyl. We notice in these days or these times very specific growth of floor graphic stickers for COVID-19 prevention. It was really amazing how much of this accounting, if we count only on the last 2 months. So if we're focusing what is going on regarding the interior decor, we can expect significant growth in this segment with demand for personalized decor, which is actually sweet spots for print service providers. And why it's sweet spot? Because customers are willing to pay a premium price. Typically, the end customer in Western Europe is willing to pay 50 euros per square meter of personalized wallpaper. And you can calculate how good margin you can have here. And UV gel is the best solution for wallpaper for reasons which I mentioned previous question. And important thing in wallpaper is that UV gel is having Green Guard Gold certificate.
Since the market results are great and print service providers are satisfied, do you maybe plan to use this technology on other platforms as well? But for example, flatbed printers?
Yeah, interesting question. Okay, let me answer this way. So Canon is technology giant, which we can prove with the fact that Canon is ranked among top 5 US patent recipients for 33 years in a row. We are developing many new products, solutions, and technologies. In practice, half of these patents are implemented in final products and solutions. For sure, you will see how Canon will evolve and continue to use UV gel and in upcoming solutions and new product releases. Of course, I cannot tell you in which product and product lines it will be used. But I suggest following Canon and keep an eye on the current and upcoming solutions and products within the years and decade. In Adria region, we are offering our products through partners Paco and Jet Direct. You can appoint for a demonstration or you can contact me. We are more than willing to help you.
So that means that we can expect surprises in the next years?
Definitely.
Mr. Vlastelica, thank you very much for your time and for the interview.
Thank you also for kind invitation, and goodbye.
We wanted an urban jungle feel. I think we did a great job.
I tako, dragi naši, došli smo do kraja još jedne emisije Print Magazinova online serijala 45 minuta o tisku. Kao što ste mogli čuti od naših gostiju, tržište tiska velikih formata ima uistinu velik potencijal i nudi gotovo pa neograničene mogućnosti. Kako su i oni rekli, prilika je to koju ne bi trebalo propustiti. Mi smo sigurni da vi nećete. Ukoliko imate bilo kakva dodatna pitanja za naše današnje sugovornike, slobodno nam pišite na naš e-mail info@print-magazin.eu. U sljedećoj epizodi za 14 dana, 8.7. razgovarat ćemo o sublimacijskom tisku iz role. A do tada vam ekipa Print magazina maše na pozdrav.